Hey, welcome back to Food According to El Roca. So today we're making some Japanese dumplings. This is my version of Japanese dumplings. As you can see the ingredients, I'm going to also put them in the description box. So you're going to take your flour and then put it in a bowl, and then you're going to use some warm water. And I'm using warm water so that, it can relax the dough at the end, so that it can be easier to work with. So I'm using warm water, so make sure the water is warm, and then you're going to mix that with your hands. And then from there, once everything is mixed together, and then you're going to put it on a floured surface and knead it a little bit. So while you are busy kneading it, don't be scared to put a little bit more flour, dust a little bit, maybe a tablespoon or two. Put more flour until it doesn't stick to your hands. That's when you know your dough is ready and it's relaxed enough. And then you're gonna knead it until you can see that it does not stick to your hands. So it's a very simple dough. There's not many ingredients, just water, just warm water, and some flour. And in this case, I used all-purpose flour. No, not a self-rising flour. So you're just gonna use your normal flour. As you can see now, it doesn't stick to my hands. And then I'm just gonna take that, put it in a floured bowl, and then just so that it can sit for 20 to 40 minutes. I just cover it with, you can cover it and then leave it alone. And then we're just gonna make a filling now while we wait for the dough for that 20 minutes. I used some green onions, and then I put garlic. In this case, I used about 3 tablespoons of garlic, 3 teaspoons of garlic, and ginger. It's a garlic and ginger mix there. And then you saute that with your onions, and then I put chili in there. But with the chili, it's up to you. If you want it to be a little bit hot, you can put the chili or not. And then I put a carrot that is finely chopped. I didn't grate it, I finely chopped it. So you can choose to grate it or just finely chop it. And then I put some white pepper, ground white pepper. And then from there, I put the cabbage. And in this case, I used cabbage, the mixed cabbage, like the red and the green cabbage. Mixed it, but it's very finely chopped, as you can see. And don't forget to put seasoning. And I put a little bit of water so that the cabbage can steam a little bit, just a few drops. And then with the chicken breast, you can either buy a minced chicken breast that comes minced, or you can mince it yourself like I'm doing here. I used just a sharp knife to mince it like that, or you can buy the one that's already minced. And then I put some bacon, about a cup of that, to about 2 cups of chicken. It's the ratio. And then I put corn flour there to be able to bind my mixture so that it doesn't fall apart. And I put a little bit of sugar so that it can balance all the flavors. And I put a little bit of salt. You don't put too much salt because the soy sauce has got some salt, the bacon has got some salt. So I just put a little bit, just to bring the flavors out. And then I put soy sauce in the mixture, and then I put more of the green onion. But as you can see, this one is just as raw as it is, and I put it in there. And then mix everything by hand. And then once you mix everything, and then you're gonna put it into that cabbage mixer. Once your cabbage is cooled down, make sure it's cooled down before you put this meat in there, because if it's warm, like, you can ruin your mixture. You can ruin your meat if you put it into hot cabbage, unless if you're gonna eat it immediately or something. So you're just gonna mix that together and put it aside. And then you're gonna start cutting your dumplings. And you can see the sizes that I'm making there. It's even different sizes. It's not the same sizes. It's homemade. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember that. Homemade doesn't have to be perfect. Don't stress yourself and think, oh, it has to be perfect. No. And then you're gonna sprinkle some flour on them before you put them aside, so that they don't stick to each other. And then we're gonna start making our dumplings. And you know what, also, the dumplings don't have to be perfect. if you want them to be perfectly round, you can just take the whole dough, light flat, and then use the cutter, the correct size cutter, to cut them out. But otherwise, you don't have to. You can just take one at a time. They don't have to be perfectly round, because this is not a competition. It's just you eating at home. It's homemade. Remember that. And then I took flour and water, mixed it together so that I can use it as a paste to close, on the edges of the dumpling, so that I can close it. So as you can see, I put about a tablespoon in the middle of the dumpling. So don't make it too thin when you roll it out. Otherwise, the mixture is gonna pop out if you make it too thin. And then I'm doing it in a form of, like, as you can see, it's like a pleat kind of format that I'm using here. Put the as you can see, I'm rubbing the flour and water mixture, and then I close it in the middle first. I pinch it there by the middle first, and I start pulling the pleats from the sides to bring it sort of like towards the middle, as you can see. But it's not perfect. It doesn't matter. If it's not perfect, as long as it's not too thin, then it won't, the mixture won't pop out of the dumpling. So you just pinch the middle first, and then the corners you're gonna bring, you start pinching it from the side towards the middle. Pinch it in the middle first, as you can see, and then start pinching from the sides towards the middle. You see, now it's closed, and then you go to the other side to do the same. So that's basically how I did it. It's how they are done, even though you can see I'm not perfect, and you also won't be perfect. So it's not about perfection here. And then, as you can see here, I'm showing you, if you can't do those pleats and they are frustrating you, you can just pinch the whole thing. As you can see, I'm just pinching now. I'm pinching to put it together. That's all I did. So if the pleats are stressing you up, just pinch the whole thing, pinch, and close it up. That's all you have to do. You don't have to stress yourself. And then I'm going to put them in a hot pan so that I can create the crisp at the bottom of the dumpling. So we start, as you can see, until they are brown like this. You must leave them in the pan there for like a few minutes. They will be brown on the bottom. Don't burn them. And then from there, we're gonna put some water, about maybe a half a cup of water in there. It depends how many you're making, but you put water in there while it's still hot like that. And then you close the pan or whatever, the pot that you're using, so that they can steam. So the steam is going to cook the dumpling and the filling. So that's what you do. Just gonna put that and close it, and then wait for the water to evaporate completely, and then your dumpling will be ready. And then this is the sauce that I'm making. As you can see, it's some sweet chili, some soy sauce, some vinegar, and then I added some chili flakes. I want it to be hot, and a little bit of salt, to season. But you can taste it, And then I added also a little bit of oil into that mixture, so to make the sauce that you can have with your dumpling. This is very easy. I mean, and it's very delicious. Let me promise you something. It's so delicious with the sauce. It goes with the sauce. You know how it is. So the dumpling is delicious, guys. The filling is delicious. And also you can still use a pork if you want. If you don't, maybe you want to use chicken, you can use pork meat. Also just mince it up or buy it minced. And then you can even use beef if you want. Like, it's up to you. If you don't eat pork, you can use mince meat, the beef mince, and then you can skip the bacon. I just love bacon, and it has to be in there for me. But if you feel like you don't eat pork, you can use beef, or you can use chicken only without adding the bacon. It's up to you. But the mixture is delicious. You can just play around with the recipe to make it your own, to make it how you would love it, how your family would love it. So guys, thank you so much again for coming back and watching this video. And if you have any questions, please be free to comment in the comment section and ask any questions. And thank you so much. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And thank you for coming.